So, custom data export templates in Preside 10.19. So quickly, we'll just look at what data exports look like today and then what this then gives you. So today we've got a regular data manager table looking at contacts in this case, and we have the export data functionality down here. What it's pretty cool at doing is we can filter the data here, do a search for example, hit export data and choose the the fields we want in the export, choose whether it's CSV or Excel. Developers can provide extra formats, so I don't know what they might be, but they can do that. Yeah, and we can download that now, and that will just download the filtered data with those columns into Excel in this case, or we can save them for later. When we save them for later, we can give that export a name. So my reports. And we can see it's remembered the choices I selected in the previous screen, and we can see the filters that are active. We can schedule that as well and say, okay, this admin user will get emailed the downloaded report on this schedule. So all pretty cool stuff. So what data export templates allow you to do is use all of that system, but have the options, the admin options for how they configure the fields in the export and so on, be limited for a specific use case. So for example, you might have a contact export that needs to be in one format, but then, I'm going to use another example, sorry, if you might have, say, like a invoices download template, and you could use this generic one, but you might have a really specific export format in CSV that needs specific column titles and so on. So what these custom templates allow you to do is display a table like this. So here we have contacts again, and we can see it's still filtered by professors and whatnot. But we're going to say when I render this table, it's going to use a different export template. So the code for that looks like this. So I'm just saying, this is just a test admin screen, so I'm just saying object data table and the name of my object, and then export template is this specific one that I will have registered. So then when I hit export data, it all behaves the same except for this config form here, which you can override. In our case, we've added an include email tick box. It could be nothing at all. You might just put a message saying, you know, there's no configuration, just download it now or save it for later. When we save it for later as well, we will see when we develop one of these export templates, we do need to kind of create the form overrides for both this form and the previous one. But again, we're saying include email, and let's save it as a custom export to. We can also see that we've limited this particular template to only CSV, which is a handy thing to be able to do. So there we go. So that's really it. We can see that the export templates have a label and a name, which you provide some I18N for. We'll take a really quick look at how that works. But that's really it. So then the idea is the experience is more focused. It doesn't force a user to have to kind of figure out all their fields in the right order and the right labels. You can hard code a really specific scenario for a particular export while still tapping into the scheduled exports, the filters working with the data table and so on. So that's the idea. So if we take a look finally at how a developer might do that in code, here's how you would create a data table that uses that export template rather than the default one. But the key thing is a handler by convention. So we've got handlers, data export templates, and then the name of your template. So in this case, Preside 1734, which is an internal Jira ticket for working on this. And there are various methods that you can optionally implement to make it work. I've only done a couple in this case. So get allowed exporters. It's just an array of exporters that your template supports. In this case, it was just CSV. Get the submitted config. This is if you have custom configuration forms for your template. This is just logic that, given a request where you're saving a config either in the download export form or the save export form, it's kind of get that config into a struct, please. Get select fields, I think is pretty obvious. So this allows you to just customize. We use all the core logic for the export. We're going to say, here are the select fields I want to get out from the database. So in this case, we're using template config as an argument. It's like, if email is true, we'll just add primary email address to the fields that we want, otherwise it's just ID. And then prepare field titles, very similar. So we'll get the select fields as an array, which you may ignore, and you might just always pass return a particular struct with titles, which you might generate any which way you want. There are a bunch more, I won't go into them. You kind of get the idea that some of them will be more advanced and allow you to really kind of override everything about the select data args, for example, and do some more things with config. So that's really how you do the logic. The config forms, there are some methods you could provide to get the config form file, the config form ID out, or more simply, you can just follow a convention. So you can create a form, data export template, your ID / config XML, and that is going to merge with the base form for the config, and then same thing for save. And the documentation will show you how you can do that to kind of merge and decorate the existing forms. Finally, you can add a I18N entry for your template in a file under enum data export template. So here's my template.label. So we programmatically create an enum of all of the templates, which makes it easier to do various nice admin selectors and UIs. And yeah, that's it.